Hey everybody, it's Jason Everett and welcome to another video newsletter on behalf of Business Refuel. I'm excited today because I want to talk about the difference between a professional and an amateur, and let's start by looking at a professional athlete versus an amateur athlete. Well, what are some attributes of a professional? Right? They have a couple things that distinguish them between an amateur. So I'm going to give you a list of 4 things that I think distinguish between a professional athlete. Number 1 is a professional athlete typically has a plan. They have a written plan, they know exactly what they're going to do, they're signed to a team, and they have a plan for their future where it's written down. Versus an amateur is somebody who picks up a game whenever they want to pick it up on the side with some friends, whatever it is, but it's more haphazard. It's more just kind of because they can as an amateur. Now, number 2 is that a professional works on a very competent team, in fact, with other high performers that in some cases are better at other areas of business or in the sport, whatever sport, if it's basketball, in other areas of the sport than they are. For example, if you're a good free throw shooter or if you're a good rebounder, right, you bring other people to the team that are great in those other areas. Versus an amateur finds whoever's lying around. If you happen to have 1 or 2 friends of yours and they might be able to play basketball, you rope them into a game of playing basketball with you. You don't really look for what their unique talents and individual skill sets are. And number 3, a professional athlete always has a professional coach, somebody who's been in the coaching industry and who's done that and has also created other champions. Versus an amateur, they tend to do it on their own. They say, I don't need a coach to what I do. You ever watched an amateur game of basketball? Is everybody kind of hangs out and everybody tries to be the coach? Everybody thinks they're doing it better than the other person. Everybody's trying to coach each other instead of just one person coaching and running the whole organization. And the last thing is probably my favorite piece, and should be your favorite too in a lot of cases, is that a professional athlete makes way more money than an amateur ever will. In fact, sometimes people would just say, in order to be a professional, you should get paid for what you do. But there's plenty of amateur athletes that might make a little bit of money, but professional athletes make a lot of money. In fact, that's the number 1 highest producing incomes in the country, is being a professional athlete, which is why so many people want to become professional athletes. Versus the amateur, that they do it because they love it, because they have it as a hobby, something they do on the side. But I want to say this to you because most business owners get into business for themselves because they love something so much and they don't want to work for somebody else. That is the wrong reason to get into business, and it's part of what sets you up to be an amateur business owner instead of a professional. So take a look at the first 3 things that I mentioned. Having a written plan, having a team that's better than you in a lot of areas, and then thirdly, having a coach for your business. And if you don't have any of those 3 things, you need to do something about it right away. Get on writing a plan. Take a look at your team or hire a coach. It doesn't have to be us, but it should be a coach that'll help you grow and succeed in your business. So that's it for this week's video newsletter about professional business owners versus amateur business owners. Take care.